Welcome to Zoe Stories. Is proteins made me pregnant? How? I never thought a simple workout supplement could ruin my life. Until it did. Alex Carter was always the shy one. In a world obsessed with confidence and muscle-bound perfection, he was quietly invisible. Always in the background, quiet in class, hesitant with friends and hopelessly cautious around girls. At 20, living in a cramped apartment, Alex's life consisted of part-time shifts at a small gym, late-night protein shakes, and an unspoken fascination with his best friend's older sister, Serena. Serena was everything Alex wasn't: bold, stunning, and dangerously confident. She moved through life with a fearless elegance, commanding attention wherever she went. Alex had admired her from afar for years, silently wishing he had her poise and courage. It all began on a humid Thursday evening at the gym. Alex had been experimenting with a new protein blend, one of Serena's recommendations. She'd whispered, half teasing, "Try this one. Trust me, it's life-changing." He hadn't questioned it. He gulped it down like usual, never imagining the storm it would unleash. Within hours, Alex felt different. Weak, dizzy, and oddly emotional. The mirror reflected more than tiredness. It showed unfamiliar softness in his features. He laughed nervously, attributing it to stress. But the sensation only intensified. The next morning, Alex awoke to a body that felt foreign. Slimmer, softer, his chest subtly curved and his hips slightly rounded. Panic surged. He ran to the bathroom mirror. What is happening?" His voice sounded strange, higher, tinged with a softness he hadn't recognized. Panic and disbelief clashed in his chest. He touched his face, tracing unfamiliar contours. His hands trembled. Could a protein shake really do this? Before he could rationalize, there was a knock on the door. Serena's voice rang out, "Alex? Are you okay in there?" Alex froze. He wasn't okay. He couldn't even explain what had happened. Somehow he knew he couldn't face her as himself, not today. Desperation gnawed at him. The only choice seemed surrender. Serena entered, carrying her usual air of control. Her eyes flicked to the mirror, and for a split second recognition flashed. "Wow," she murmured, a mix of surprise and intrigue. "You're different. Very different." Alex tried to step back, covering his chest, his face flushing. I don't know what's happening. The protein." Serena's lips curled into a small, knowing smile. "Relax, Alex. It's not dangerous, exactly. But you need to understand something." Her tone softened but carried unmistakable authority. "This change could be incredible. But you have to trust me." "What do you mean?" Alex whispered, voice cracking. "I mean," Serena said, stepping closer, "that we can work with this. You can experience a side of yourself you never dared explore. But it won't be easy. It won't be simple. And it will change how the world sees you." Alex's chest tightened. Fear, excitement, shame, and curiosity collided. He looked at Serena, searching her expression for jest, but found only determination, and perhaps desire to see him transformed. By the time the night ended, Alex stood in Serena's carefully prepared bedroom, surrounded by dresses, lingerie, makeup, and heels. His hands shook as he reached for a silky blouse, the texture alien yet enticing. I can't," he stammered. Serena's voice cut through the panic, calm yet commanding. "Yes, you can. You will. And when you do, you'll see how powerful this feels." The first brush of lipstick against his lips sent a shiver down his spine. Alex, or rather the version of himself emerging, felt a rush of vulnerability, excitement, and fear. His reflection in the mirror didn't just show Alex anymore. It showed a new identity, delicate and beautiful, trembling beneath the surface yet undeniably there. And as Serena's hands guided his hair into a soft wave, as she adjusted the skirt around his hips, Alex realized that life as he knew it had ended. From this moment he would be different. Cliffhanger. Just as Alex lifted his gaze to the mirror, a small smirk crept across Serena's face. "You're going to need more than just lipstick and dresses, Alex. Tonight, you're going to see what happens when the world meets Alina." Every step in heels felt like a confession, and every glance from strangers whispered my secret. The morning sunlight streamed through the half-open curtains, spilling over the carefully arranged skirts and makeup brushes that now defined my life. Alex, or rather Alina, stood in front of the mirror, a stranger staring back at me. The reflection was soft, curvy, and undeniably feminine. My hands shook as I traced the smooth lines of my face, the blush on my cheeks, the delicate curve of my jaw. Serena's presence was a constant weight. She moved around the room with effortless grace, organizing shoes, adjusting my posture, and whispering instructions that were equal parts encouragement and command. "You need to move like this," she said, demonstrating a sway of her hips that seemed impossible for someone who had walked as a man all his life. "It's not just about the walk, it's the confidence, the attitude. Own it or the world will see right through you." I nodded nervously, trying to imitate her movements. Every step in heels sent a jolt up my legs, threatening to topple me. Sweat prickled my temples and my stomach twisted with anxiety. I wasn't just practicing a walk, I was practicing a persona, a mask I might never be able to remove. The first test came sooner than I expected. Serena smiled, slipping her phone into her pocket. "You're going out today. Just a short trip. To the cafe, maybe the boutique. Public exposure. Think of it as initiation." Panic surged. I can't. They'll see me." My voice trembled, betraying the fear and vulnerability coursing through me. Serena's smile softened but remained firm. "Alina," she corrected, her voice steady, "people always see what you allow them to. You either step forward, or you stay hidden forever. And I don't think you want that." I swallowed, my heart hammering. The reality of stepping outside in this new body was terrifying. Every glance from a stranger felt like a verdict. Every whisper a judgment. And yet, a strange thrill tickled beneath the fear. For the first time I felt alive in a way Alex had never known. The cafe was bustling. I clutched my purse tightly, shoulders hunched, trying to disappear into the crowd. But the moment I stepped inside, the world reacted. Strangers smiled at me, some nodded politely, and a few whispered compliments I could barely hear. "Pretty girl. Nice dress." My cheeks flushed crimson. Alex's shame screamed, but Alina's thrill rose, mixing fear and excitement into an intoxicating cocktail. Serena stayed close, guiding me, her hands on my elbows, her gaze protective yet possessive. "See? You can do this. You're already turning heads." I avoided mirrors and reflective surfaces, but the feeling of exposure was relentless. Every step, every interaction chipped away at Alex's old self, replacing it with Alina's tentative confidence. By the time we left, I felt like I had survived a battle, but the battlefield had only begun. As we stepped back into the sunlight, a familiar voice called out across the street. "Alex, is that really you?" I froze. Heart pounding, knees trembling, the heels beneath me suddenly felt like knives. Somewhere in the crowd, someone from my past had seen me, and the secret that had begun in the privacy of Serena's room was now dangerously exposed. My heart stopped when I realized someone from my past was staring right at me. The street felt impossibly long as my heels clicked against the pavement, each step echoing in my ears like a countdown. I had tried to calm myself, telling Alex, "No, Alina," that it would be fine. But the voice calling my name shattered all pretense. "Alex. Alex Carter." I froze, blood draining from my face. The cafe's bustling noise dulled to a whisper, and all I could hear was the pounding of my own heartbeat. Fully I turned. And there he was, Jason, a former classmate, someone who knew every secret about me before Serena even entered my life. His eyes widened in shock, then narrowed with curiosity, scanning my every detail. The soft contours of my face, the elegant dress, the perfectly styled hair. I wanted to disappear. Alex's panic surged, wrapping my stomach in tight knots. It's not what you think," I stammered, voice trembling, betraying the carefully cultivated Alina poise. Jason took a cautious step closer, a sly grin forming. "Not what I think. You look incredible. But Alex, is that really you?" Every word felt like a blade slicing through me. I had practiced for this moment, rehearsed how to blend, how to keep my secret, but nothing could prepare me for recognition from someone who remembered me as Alex. Serena's hand tightened around my elbow, her grip firm, anchoring me. Alina, she corrected sharply, her eyes blazing with protective dominance. You're Lena now. Embrace it. I forced a shaky smile, trying to stand tall, ignoring the warmth creeping up my cheeks. Yes. I'm Alina now, I said, voice stronger than I felt. Jason raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. Alina, huh? Well, I've got to say, you've really changed. I mean, wow. But, is this permanent? The word permanent hung in the air like a guillotine. I didn't know how to answer. Part of me longed to tell the truth, to admit that this transformation had begun unintentionally, that a simple protein supplement had shifted my life forever. But Alex's fear whispered that confession would undo everything. Serena leaned closer, whispering in my ear, her tone both soothing and commanding. Own it. Every part of this is yours now. He doesn't need your past, he needs Alina. I swallowed hard, lifting my chin and straightening my back. Yes. Alina is me now. Jason's gaze lingered, a mixture of disbelief, admiration, and curiosity. Brave. I don't think I could do this. But well. Seriously. A flutter of pride surged through me, Alina's pride, not Alex's. I had faced recognition, confrontation, and judgment, and I hadn't collapsed. But the triumph was fleeting. From the corner of my eye, I saw another figure approaching, someone I hadn't expected. A local gym trainer holding a vial of the same protein that had started all this. His expression was grave. You've taken the wrong supplement. You need to come with me, now. Panic returned in full force. Alex's instinct screamed to run, to escape the consequences, to reclaim control. But Alina's newfound confidence held me in place. The decision was clear. Flee as Alex or stand as Alina and face the storm. I glanced at Serena, whose eyes flicked between me and the approaching figure. Her lips curved in a dangerous, knowing smile. Alina, you can run or you can step into the world fully. But once you decide, there's no turning back. The world seemed to pause. Every heartbeat, every step, every breath felt suspended. The choice was mine, and for the first time I realized that Alina wasn't just a disguise. She was the key to surviving what came next. The moment I realized I wasn't just changing. I was losing myself, piece by piece. The city seemed to close in around me. Every step I took as Alina felt weighted with consequence. The gym trainer approached, holding the vial that had caused my transformation. His eyes were sharp, professional, and terrifyingly serious. You've been taking an experimental protein, he said, voice calm but unyielding. It wasn't designed for this. You need to come with me, now. Fear gripped Alex's chest. Run, hide, undo this nightmare. Those thoughts screamed in my head. But Alina's pulse, delicate and firm, urged me to stand still. Serena's hand on my shoulder was both anchor and cage. Don't listen to him, she said softly, her voice sweet but edged with steel. You're Lena now. This is your life, embrace it. My legs trembled. Alex's fear wanted to resist, to flee to the safety of anonymity. Alina, however, ached to step into the attention, to feel the softness of my new skin, the thrill of the heels, the intoxicating vulnerability of a public gaze. The trainer stepped closer, holding the vial like it carried judgment itself. This isn't reversible, he warned. If you continue, physically, emotionally, you may not return to your original form. Serena smiled faintly, almost cruelly. That's why you need guidance. Alina, don't let fear dictate you. This is your chance to become everything you never were. A shiver of both dread and excitement coursed through me. The power in her words was undeniable. Every fiber of Alex wanted to scream, no. Yet Alina's heart fluttered with anticipation. Could I truly become someone new? Then came the first true test. The trainer insisted I remove part of my outfit for analysis. A humiliating, intimate exposure. My cheeks flushed crimson. Every muscle tensed as I obeyed, feeling the vulnerability of being seen not as Alex, not even fully as Alina, but somewhere in between. Serena's hand rested lightly on my back, soothing yet controlling. Good, you're learning control. Fear is natural. But confidence, that's power. Every movement was a lesson. Every glance from the trainer a judgment I couldn't escape. The world had narrowed to mirrors, reflections, and the duality of who I was versus who I could become. The line between Alex's shame and Alina's thrill blurred more with each passing second. Finally, the session ended and the trainer handed the vial back, his warning echoing in my mind. You're not the same. You can't be. Serena's eyes softened, a glimmer of pride appearing amidst her usual dominance. He's right, but that doesn't mean it's bad. You're evolving, Alina. Own it. I sank into a chair, heels clacking against the floor. Every nerve in my body buzzed with embarrassment, desire, and doubt. Was this transformation a gift or a trap? My reflection in the mirror stared back, beautiful, vulnerable, and completely unrecognizable. The thrill of being called pretty, of feeling every curve, was intoxicating, yet terrifying. And then the final blow of suspense. A shadow appeared at the door. A familiar figure from the gym, someone who had seen Alex as himself, recognizing him instantly. Their eyes widened in shock and a whisper cut through the tense room. Alina. Alex. What did you do? My heart skipped. The room seemed to shrink. Public exposure, secrecy, humiliation, and the all-consuming presence of Serena had led me to this exact moment. I could feel Alex's panic rising, Alina's thrill surging, and the knowledge that my secret life might be exposed completely. Every stare burned into me like fire, and I realized hiding was no longer an option. The mall was buzzing with weekend shoppers, oblivious to the storm brewing around one particular corner. Alina, know me, clutched Serena's hand tightly, heels clicking on the polished tiles. The reflection of glass storefronts mirrored a girl I barely recognized. Soft, curvy, radiant, yet trembling under the weight of every gaze. Serena had orchestrated this outing meticulously. It's not just practice, she whispered, lips brushing my ear. It's reality. People see you as Alina. Accept it or crumble. My chest tightened, breath catching in my throat. Every stranger's glance felt like a verdict. Every whisper a judgment. I wanted to shrink, disappear, undo the feminine curves, the delicate blouse, the skirt that swayed with every step. Yet paradoxically, a part of me, Alina, thrived on it. We passed a boutique window. My reflection stared back at me, impossibly feminine. I touched my hair, tracing the soft waves Serena had styled, my fingers trembling. The blush on my cheeks was real, mirrored in the reflections of passers-by who paused to admire. One teenage girl whispered to her friend, "She's so pretty. Like unreal." Heat flooded my face. Alex's shame roared, wanting to flee, to vanish, to regain the safety of anonymity. Alina's pulse, delicate yet confident, reminded me that hiding was no longer an option. Then came the first real test. A casual acquaintance. Mark, a guy from my gym, stepped into the mall, spotting me instantly. His eyes widened. "Alex." "Wait, what?" The world froze. Every step, every glance, every heartbeat felt magnified. I could hear Serena's calm voice in my ear. "Own it. He's seeing Alina now. Not Alex. Stand tall." I forced a trembling smile, hips swaying carefully, voice steady despite the storm inside. "Hi. I'm Alina." Mark's jaw dropped. "Alina? But, Alex, this, how?" His disbelief clashed with fascination, leaving me suspended between embarrassment and an unexpected thrill. Serena's hand rested lightly on my back, guiding me. "It's simple. You're Alina now. Accept it and the world will too." We continued walking, each step a battle between Alex's panic and Alina's budding confidence. Every stare from strangers, every whispered compliment, was a reminder. This wasn't a temporary disguise. This was my life now. By the time we reached a cafe, my legs shook with exhaustion. Serena insisted I sit in the center, heels planted firmly, skirt adjusted, posture perfect. "People are watching. This is your moment. Feel every eye, every judgment, and let it make you stronger." The humiliation was intoxicating. Every passerby glance, every whispered compliment, chipped away at Alex's resistance. By the time a stranger stopped to say, "Wow, you're stunning," I realized I had smiled genuinely, chest swelling with a strange pride. The line between fear and arousal blurred. Serena leaned close, her voice a mix of sweetness and command. See? This is who you are. The world sees Alina now. Let it. I shivered, not from cold but from the undeniable thrill of surrender, submission, and the intoxicating power of being seen yet controlled. As we left the cafe, a hand tapped my shoulder. I spun around, heart racing, to see someone from my past who had recognized Alex earlier. Their eyes burned with curiosity and suspicion. Alina, or Alex, what's really going on here? The mall noise seemed to fade. All I could feel was Serena's steady grip and the pounding in my chest. Alex's panic surged, Alina's excitement flared, and I realized that my secret life, my new identity, and the people who knew my past were all about to collide. Every secret I tried to hide pulled me deeper into a world I wasn't sure I wanted or could escape. The evening air was thick with anticipation as Serena led me down quiet streets, my heels clicking like a metronome counting my heartbeat. Each step felt like a promise and a warning, the night carrying an intoxicating mix of danger and desire. The mall encounter lingered in my mind. The whispered recognition, the stolen glances, the thrill of being noticed. Serena's presence was magnetic. Her fingers brushed mine occasionally, deliberately, sending shivers through me. Alina, she murmured, the world is learning who you are. But you're learning who you could be. My heart twisted. Alex's fear whispered to resist, to reclaim the familiar safety of my old life. But Alina's pulse thrummed with excitement, curiosity, and something deeper, an almost forbidden desire to surrender. I could feel it in the way Serena's gaze held me, commanding, seductive, unapologetic. We arrived at her apartment, warm light spilling through the windows, soft music playing in the background. The space felt like a cage and a sanctuary all at once. Serena guided me to a mirror. Look, she said softly, her voice mixing sweetness with control. Really look. Who do you see? I studied myself, tracing the curves of my body in the soft glow of the room. Every blush, every contour, every hint of makeup painted a picture I barely recognized. The girl in the reflection, Alina, was breathtaking. And yet she was me. Alex was still somewhere underneath, a shadow whispering of shame, of longing for the safety of anonymity. Let me help, Serena said, moving closer. Her hands adjusted my hair, applied a hint of lipstick, tracing the line of my lips with precision. Every touch sent warmth through me, a dangerous mixture of vulnerability and exhilaration. You're beautiful, she whispered, her breath brushing my ear. A shiver ran down my spine. Alex recoiled at the intimacy, the exposure, the undeniable attraction forming in places I had never anticipated. Alina trembled, not with fear but with a heady mix of desire and fear, shame and submission. Then came the challenge. A video call to someone from my past, someone who knew Alex intimately. Serena guided my hands, adjusted my posture and whispered, "Be Alina. Not Alex. Let them see you as you are now." The call connected. Shock and disbelief flooded the other side as my voice, soft and feminine, answered questions about Alina's life, her choices, her presence. Each word, each movement was a tightrope between exposure and transformation. I could feel Alex's tension, Alina's growing confidence, the delicate power play between fear and seduction. Serena watched, approving, almost predatory. "Good, now feel it," she murmured. "Feel their eyes, their judgments, and let it strengthen you." By the end of the call I felt changed. Every part of Alex's hesitation had melted, replaced with Alina's emergent identity. Confident, beautiful, vulnerable, and dangerously empowered. Yet a spark of fear remained. Someone from my past had glimpsed the truth. How long before they saw all of me? As Serena leaned back, satisfied, a knock came at the door. My heart stuttered. Outside stood someone unexpected. Someone who knew both Alex and Alina, and who had the power to expose everything in a single word. Serena's eyes glittered with amusement. "Shall we see how brave Alina really is?" Every compliment felt like a spark, every glance like a challenge, and I didn't know which side of me would survive. The next morning, the sunlight cut through the blinds in thin, golden lines, painting the room with warmth and tension. Alina sat cross-legged on Serena's couch, carefully adjusting her skirt, heart pounding. Even in private, the transformation felt like a performance. Every motion deliberate, every expression controlled. Serena, sipping her coffee, watched with an almost predatory smile. "Alina," she said, her voice soft but commanding, "you're ready for the next step. The world is full of eyes and you need to learn how to enjoy being watched. Or feared. Maybe both." I shivered. The word enjoy made Alex recoil, but Alina's pulse thrummed with excitement, a dangerous thrill I couldn't deny. The line between fear and desire blurred with every heartbeat. Our first stop, a boutique downtown known for its daring fashion shows. Serena had arranged for me to participate as a model in a minor showcase. A public debut. Panic roared in Alex's chest. "I can't. People will know." Serena's eyes softened yet held steel. "They'll see Alina, not Alex. But you have to trust me, and yourself." Inside, mirrors reflected dozens of models, each poised and perfect. Alina's reflection stared back at me, flawless in a shimmering dress that clung to every curve. High heels elevated my posture, making my legs feel impossibly long. Makeup highlighted eyes that Alex had always thought unremarkable, turning them into windows of both vulnerability and allure. The showcase began. Lights, music, and applause created a sensory storm. Each step on the runway sent jolts of terror and exhilaration through me. Alex's panic clawed at my chest. What if someone recognized me? Alina's thrill, however, surged stronger. "Look at you, beautiful," commanding attention, being celebrated for what was once a secret. Midway through the showcase, a whisper from the crowd froze me. "Alex, is that really?" My chest tightened. Someone from school, someone who had known Alex intimately, was in the audience. Panic and adrenaline collided in a chaotic storm. I stumbled slightly, heels wobbling, but Serena's steady hands guided me, murmuring, "Alina, keep walking. You are unstoppable." Each step became a test of submission and desire. Every applause, every compliment, chipped away at Alex's old fears. I felt seen in a way I never had before, exposed yet powerful, humiliated yet irresistibly alive. After the showcase, a young man approached backstage, a volunteer who had complimented me during the rehearsal. His eyes lingered with curiosity and subtle admiration. "You're amazing. Really beautiful." Alex's shame screamed internally. Alina's heartbeat soared. The compliment was intoxicating, and for a moment the boundaries between old self and new self blurred completely. Serena's approving gaze reminded me that this was all part of the lesson. Desire, control, and identity intertwined in ways I couldn't yet untangle. Just as the evening ended and the crowd dispersed, a familiar voice rang out from the shadows backstage. "Alina, or Alex, you've been hiding too well. But secrets, they always come out." My heart froze. Every pulse, every breath felt suspended. Alex's panic surged. Alina's thrill flared. Someone knew everything, and the careful balance of control, exposure, and desire was about to collapse. The moment I saw their eyes, I knew Alex's past had finally caught up with Alina, and there was no turning back. Backstage, the hum of the emptying venue was suddenly pierced by a voice I had hoped never to hear again. "Alina, or should I say Alex?" The words froze me mid-step. Every muscle locked, breath caught, and a cold sweat spread across my forehead. The voice belonged to Liam, an old classmate and someone who knew Alex far too well. His expression was a mixture of shock, curiosity, and barely concealed amusement. Serena's hand tightened on my wrist, grounding me in a way that made me simultaneously feel safe and trapped. "Alina," she said softly, her tone sharp yet reassuring, "stand tall. This is your reality now. Don't falter." I swallowed hard, fighting the surge of panic inside me. Alex wanted to scream, to run, to pull off the dress and heels and disappear into anonymity. Alina, however, forced herself to meet Liam's gaze. Her posture straightened, chest forward, chin raised. I'm Alina," I said, voice trembling but firm. Liam's eyes narrowed, scanning my features, the subtle curves, the makeup, the way my hair framed my face. "Alina, you've really changed. But this is Alex, isn't it?" The accusation hung in the air, thick and suffocating. My stomach twisted. How could I explain that a protein, a careless mistake, and Serena's manipulations had rewritten my life? That Alex's identity was still in there, buried beneath Alina's curves and poise? Serena's eyes flashed dangerously. Alina doesn't belong to the past. She belongs to the present and the future. Don't let him shake you. The tension was unbearable. Liam took a step closer, his curiosity unrelenting. I don't understand. Why do this? Dressing like this, living like this. Is it a game? A shiver of humiliation and desire surged through me. Every word, every glance reminded me how public and exposed I had become. The duality of Alex's shame and Alina's thrill coiled tightly in my chest. It's not a game, I managed to say, voice cracking slightly. We know. That's who I am. Liam's expression shifted, a flicker of understanding mixed with disbelief. You actually enjoy this? The question pierced me like a blade. Alex recoiled, wanting to deny it, to retreat to the comfort of normalcy. But Alina's heartbeat throbbed with exhilaration. Yes, there was a thrill, an intoxicating sense of power and vulnerability all at once. The way Serena had guided me, the way the public had stared, the way my reflection now radiated beauty. It was addictive. Before I could respond, Serena stepped forward, her presence commanding, almost magnetic. Liam, she said, voice low and dangerous, don't question her. She is Alina, fully and irreversibly. And if you value your own safety, you'll accept that. The power in her words made Liam hesitate. He glanced at me once more, eyes filled with conflicting emotions, then nodded slowly. All right, Lena. But it's incredible and terrifying. I exhaled shakily, the room spinning. Relief mixed with the sting of exposure. Alex's fear still lingered, but Alina's emerging confidence held firm. I was caught between worlds, past and present, fear and desire, shame and power. Just as I began to steady myself, Serena's phone buzzed. Her eyes darkened as she read the message. Well, she said, a sly smile creeping across her lips, it seems someone else knows, and they're coming tonight. Are you ready, Alina? The thought of facing more exposure, more judgment, more temptation sent a shiver down my spine. But Alina's pulse raced with a mix of fear and exhilaration, because deep down part of me wanted to meet the challenge. The knock at the door wasn't just unexpected, it threatened to unravel everything I'd become. Evening had fallen, casting long shadows across Serena's apartment. Alina sat on the plush sofa, knees tucked beneath her, adjusting the hem of her dress for the 10th time. The memory of Liam's recognition backstage still buzzed like electricity through my chest. My heart refused to slow down, a mix of fear, exhilaration, and a strange longing that I couldn't name. Serena moved around the apartment with grace and purpose, preparing tea, checking the blinds, and occasionally glancing at me with a mixture of amusement and command. Alina, she said softly, tonight isn't just another lesson. It's a test of control, confidence, and temptation. Before I could ask what she meant, a sudden, sharp knock echoed through the apartment. My pulse leapt. Serena froze, her eyes narrowing with precision. Stay calm, she murmured, placing a hand on my shoulder. Her touch was grounding but also a reminder of how deeply she controlled every part of me. I hesitated. Alex's fear roared in my chest. What if it was someone from the past? Someone who could expose everything? Alina's pulse, however, throbbed with a dangerous thrill. The thought of being seen, judged, perhaps even admired sent shivers down my spine. Serena moved to the door and opened it just enough to reveal a man I didn't recognize. His eyes scanned the room, lingering on me. Serena, he said smoothly, I was told someone special would be here tonight. My stomach twisted. The stranger's gaze was sharp, assessing and unnervingly confident. Serena's lips curved into a slight smile. Alina, she whispered, meet him. He's here to challenge you. Every nerve in my body tightened. Alex's instinct was to flee, hide, revert to safety. Alina's heartbeat, however, pulsed in anticipation. I was being tested, exposed, and seduced, all at once. The man stepped inside, eyes never leaving mine. He spoke casually but with underlying intensity. "I've heard about you, Lena. I wanted to see if the rumors were true." My face burned. Humiliation surged alongside a strange, undeniable thrill. Serena guided me to the center of the room, heels clacking against the floor. "Show him who you are," she instructed, her voice low and commanding. Every movement, every glance, every tremble in my body became a performance. Alex's fear lingered, but Alina's confidence, fragile yet growing, pushed me forward. The stranger circled me slowly, assessing, testing boundaries. "You're more than I expected," he said, voice soft but deliberate. "And yet, so vulnerable." Shivers coursed through me. Humiliation, desire, and fear intertwined, wrapping me in a knot I couldn't untangle. Serena's presence at my back reminded me that I wasn't entirely alone, but also that every move, every reaction was under her watchful eye. The encounter escalated as the stranger made subtle, provocative remarks, challenging my control. Each word, each look, forced me to reconcile the duality of Alex's shame and Alina's awakening thrill. Just as I thought I was finding balance, a loud ding sounded from Serena's phone. A new message appeared. "I know everything. I'm on my way. Be ready." The room seemed to shrink. Panic clawed at Alex's chest. Alina's excitement surged dangerously, and Serena's eyes sparkled with anticipation. The test wasn't over. It had just begun, and the next arrival promised chaos, exposure, and ultimate transformation. The moment the door opened, I knew my life, Alex's life, Alina's life, would never be the same again. The sound of the doorknob turning made my heart hammer so loudly I was sure the intruder could hear it from across the apartment. Serena's hand tightened on my shoulder, grounding me, but also reminding me that every move I made was under her control. The door swung open to reveal a figure I would never forget. My older cousin Ryan. His sharp eyes scanned the room, immediately landing on me. Recognition flickered like a flame, followed by disbelief, curiosity, and an undeniable intensity. "Alex?" he asked, voice low, but it carried the weight of someone who knew me intimately. Alex's panic exploded in my chest. My instinct was to step back, hide, pull off the dress, anything to reclaim anonymity. But Alina, radiant, poised, trembling but unwilling to break, stood her ground. "Yes," I said, voice trembling yet controlled. "Alina, that's me now." Ryan's gaze flicked between me and Serena, confusion etched deep into his features. I don't understand. Why? How? This isn't just dressing up." Serena stepped forward, her presence commanding. "It is who she is. Fully and irreversibly. Alina is real. Alex is a memory." The room seemed to shrink, every heartbeat amplified. I could feel my chest tightening, tears threatening to spill. Humiliation, fear, and thrill all collided, leaving me gasping. Ryan stepped closer, his curiosity mingling with something darker. "This transformation, you've gone far beyond what I expected." A shiver ran down my spine, not from cold but from the undeniable tension of being seen, analyzed, and exposed by someone I trusted. Every word, every glance, pushed me to reconcile Alex's shame with Alina's emerging confidence. Serena's voice broke the tension, soft yet edged with authority. "Alina, show him who you are. Let him see everything you've become." The challenge was clear. Each movement, each glance in the mirror, every delicate sway of my dress and heels became a performance of identity. Alex screamed to escape. Alina pulsed with exhilaration. Ryan circled me slowly, assessing, testing boundaries. "You're beautiful. Terrifyingly beautiful. And yet, so fragile." Humiliation and desire surged simultaneously. Alex wanted to vanish. Alina, glittering under the room's soft lighting, thrived on the attention, the power, and the vulnerability. Every word from Ryan seemed to unravel me further while solidifying my feminine persona. Then came the bombshell. Ryan leaned closer, voice low, almost intimate. I've always wondered what it would be like if you became someone else. I never imagined it would be like this." The room spun. Serena's hand pressed reassuringly against my back, yet her eyes glittered with amusement. Every shred of Alex's resistance was eroding, replaced by Alina's intoxicating confidence. Before I could process, Ryan's phone buzzed. A text appeared, "I'm outside. Everyone will know soon." My pulse stopped. The intruder outside, someone who knew Alex's secret, threatened to reveal everything in minutes. Alex's panic surged. Alina's thrill flared dangerously. Serena's eyes sparkled, almost predatory. "Alina," she whispered, "it's time to face the world, fully exposed." Every heartbeat echoed in my ears. I realized there was no turning back, no safety. Only transformation, submission, and revelation awaited. Every eye on me was a judgment, every whisper a test, and I didn't know if I could survive it. Serena opened the door slowly, revealing the bustling street outside. Neon lights flickered over wet asphalt, casting reflections that danced like secrets across the sidewalk. My heart raced uncontrollably, Alex screaming to retreat, to hide, to escape. Alina, however, felt the thrilling pull of the world staring directly at her. "Alina," Serena whispered, voice low and commanding, "you've learned control behind closed doors. Now the world is watching. Show them who you are." I swallowed hard, gripping the edges of my dress, feeling the soft fabric between trembling fingers. High heels elevated every step, a constant reminder of the persona I now inhabited. Every movement, every glance, every breath was a performance. The crowd outside was indifferent at first, ordinary pedestrians busy with their lives, but as I walked, heads turned. Whispers followed. "Look at her, so beautiful, and is that him?" Alex panicked at the recognition, muscles stiffening, throat tightening. Alina's pulse, however, surged with a dangerous exhilaration. The thrill of exposure, the intoxicating mix of fear and desire, made my steps bolder. We reached a small cafe where Serena had arranged for a public meeting. Inside, familiar faces from Alex's past were seated. Classmates, neighbors, even a teacher who had once doubted me. Every pair of eyes scanned me, curiosity and judgment radiating like heat. "Alina," Serena said softly, placing her hand on my shoulder, "remember, fear is temporary. Confidence is permanent. You decide who wins." I drew a deep breath, trying to steady the storm of emotions inside. Alex's voice screamed to flee. Alina's heartbeat screamed to shine. I chose Alina. Each step toward the table was deliberate, graceful, commanding attention without speaking. The murmurs grew louder as I approached. Liam, Ryan, and several others exchanged glances, shock etched into their expressions. Yet even in their surprise there was admiration, acknowledgement of the transformation, of the audacity, of the undeniable beauty. Serena guided me to a seat at the center, positioning me like a queen in her court. "Now," she whispered, "show them all what it means to be Alina." I raised my chin, shoulders straight, eyes meeting every gaze with steady courage. Alex wanted to shrink. Alina wanted to dominate. Each whispered comment, each startled look, each quiet compliment fed Alina's rising confidence. Then came the final blow. A familiar face from school. Someone who had once been cruel, teasing Alex mercilessly, smirked. "Well, this is unexpected," they said, voice dripping with mockery. I felt Alex's panic rise like a tide. Alina's pulse, however, thrummed with adrenaline. This was the ultimate test. Humiliation, exposure, and temptation all colliding in one moment. Before I could react, Serena's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, eyes darkening. "They're outside. Everyone who knows Alex. They're coming. Are you ready to be seen, Alina, in front of the world?" The city street, the cafe, the familiar faces. Everything was about to collide with my dual identity. Alex's fear screamed inside me. Alina's thrill surged, and the world waited for the moment I would either break or fully transform. Every secret, every fear, every desire was about to collide under the harsh spotlight of reality. The cafe doors burst open and a flood of familiar faces poured in. Neighbors, classmates, even Alex's childhood friends who hadn't seen me in years. Each pair of eyes seemed to pierce through me, dissecting, judging, and yet mesmerized. Alex froze, panic spiking. Every instinct screamed to hide, to run, to rip off the dress and heels and reclaim anonymity. But Alina's pulse raced with exhilaration. Every glance, every whisper fueled the persona I had been sculpted into over weeks of transformation. Serena's hand rested lightly on my back, her touch grounding yet commanding. "Alina," she whispered, "you've faced fear. Now face them. Show them who you truly are." I took a slow breath, the room spinning slightly from nerves and adrenaline. Every step toward the center felt like a tightrope walk between humiliation and empowerment. My heels clicked against the floor with deliberate precision. Every whisper, "Is that really Alex?" cut through me, blending shame and thrill in an intoxicating mix. A former classmate smirked, pointing subtly. "I never imagined this. Alex, is it? Or Alina?" I held my gaze, chin high, shoulders back, letting Alina's emerging confidence radiate. The high, trembling voice that escaped was a mix of fear and seduction. "I am Alina, and I'm proud of her." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. The recognition was complete. Alex's secret laid bare, yet Alina's beauty captivated everyone. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum in my chest. Then came the unexpected twist. A young man, someone I had met during Serena's previous outings, stepped forward. His eyes held curiosity, admiration, and undeniable interest. "You're amazing," he said softly. "Beautiful and confident." Shivers coursed through me. Alex's panic surged. Alina's excitement flared. The realization hit me like lightning. Somewhere in this exposure there was power, attention, and a thrilling sense of acceptance. Serena's eyes gleamed. "Alina," she said, voice low and commanding, "embrace it. This is your life now. Every look, every word, every whisper. It belongs to you." I felt Alex slipping, fading as Alina stepped fully into the world. Every humiliation, every temptation, every judgment transformed into fuel. I was exposed, vulnerable, yet exhilaratingly alive. Suddenly a phone buzzed again. Serena glanced down and froze. "Isabella. She knows." A cold shiver ran through me. The ultimate test had arrived. My girlfriend, the last person keeping Alex tethered to the past, had discovered everything. Panic and exhilaration collided. Would she accept Alina, or shatter everything? The moment Isabella walked in, the world shifted. Alex's past collided with Alina's present, and I had to choose who I truly was. The knock on Serena's door was sharp, deliberate, and it carried with it the weight of judgment. My stomach knotted instantly, Alex's fear rising like a tide. But Alina's pulse, faster than ever, throbbed with a mix of anticipation and adrenaline. Serena opened the door to reveal Isabella. Her gaze swept across the room, taking in the crowd, the attention, and most importantly me. The recognition hit her instantly and her eyes narrowed, not with disbelief, but with that sharp, calculating intensity that had once made my heart race. "Alina, or should I say Alex?" Isabella's voice was soft, but every syllable carried a pointed edge. Alex's first instinct was to shrink, to hide, to deny everything. I froze, feeling the full weight of exposure. Alina, however, stood tall, shoulders back, chin raised. Every step, every movement, every glance screamed confidence, even as the old fear gnawed at my chest. I'm Alina now," I said, voice trembling but firm. "This is who I am." Isabella's lips curved into a knowing smile. "Really?" she said, voice teasing but dangerous. "Because I see Alex hiding somewhere in there, scared and unsure. And I see Alina, bold, beautiful, and intoxicating." The words sent a shiver down my spine. Alex recoiled inwardly. Alina's excitement flared dangerously. The duality, the tension between past and present, shame and thrill, engulfed me entirely. Serena stepped forward, placing a hand lightly but firmly on my back. "Alina, remember, control is power. You decide." The room seemed to constrict, every gaze burning, every whisper amplifying the tension. Isabella moved closer, eyes locked on mine. Do you want to go back to being Alex? She asked, voice deceptively soft. Or, do you want to embrace Alina fully? I couldn't speak at first. Alex wanted to flee, to reclaim normalcy, to undo weeks of transformation. But Alina, the persona shaped by humiliation, exposure, guidance, and desire, beat louder in my chest. Every look in the mirror, every public outing, every whispered compliment had led to this moment. I am Alina, I finally said, voice trembling but resolute. Isabella's smile deepened, satisfied yet enigmatic. Good, she said, voice low, commanding. Then you'll live as her. Fully. Publicly. No hiding, no excuses. A mixture of fear and exhilaration surged through me. Alex's panic screamed in my chest, but Alina's pulse thrummed with triumph. Every whisper, every stare, every judgment became fuel. I was exposed, vulnerable yet intoxicatingly alive. The crowd watched silently, sensing the tension, the shift in power, and the undeniable transformation. My high heels clicked against the floor, deliberate and poised. My reflection in the cafe window stared back, a perfect mixture of fear, beauty, and audacious confidence. Just as the weight of the decision settled, Isabella's phone buzzed. She glanced down, eyes darkening. Someone else knows. And they're closer than you think. My chest tightened. Panic and exhilaration collided. The world outside, the people I'd faced, the secrets I'd guarded, all were about to converge. Alex's past threatened to unravel Alina's present. But deep down, a part of me, Alina, wanted to face it head-on, to claim every whisper, every glance, every shiver as her own. Every choice I had left boiled down to this single heart-stopping moment. Alex or Alina, past or present, fear or freedom. The apartment felt impossibly small, the walls pressing in as if they were listening, judging. Isabella's eyes never left mine, her gaze sharp, unwavering. Serena's hand rested on my back, firm but encouraging. The crowd outside, the whispers, the recognition, they all faded into a singular point of tension. Me. Alex screamed in panic from the depths of my mind, thrashing against the reality I now inhabited. Run, hide, erase this nightmare, he shouted. But Alina's pulse surged with exhilaration. Stand tall. Own this. Embrace it. Let them see. I looked into the mirror across the room. My reflection stared back with shocking clarity. Soft curves, delicate features, long hair cascading over my shoulders, eyes wide with fear yet shimmering with audacious confidence. The Alex I had been, the shy, nervous, hiding boy, was there only as a ghost. Alina's presence was undeniable, consuming, and intoxicating. Isabella's voice broke through my internal chaos. Alina, or Alex. Make your choice. Now. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum. The air was thick with anticipation, judgment, and desire. Every whisper, every stare, every step I had taken to reach this moment culminated here. I felt my chest tighten, breath shallow, hands trembling, high heels anchoring me to this new reality, every step deliberate, every movement a declaration. I closed my eyes for a fraction of a second, Alex screaming for normalcy, safety, and anonymity. But Alina pulsed through every vein, igniting courage, thrill, and desire I had never known. I am Alina, I whispered, voice steady despite the storm in my chest. The room shifted. Isabella's lips curved into a satisfied, almost predatory smile. Good, she said softly. Then you will live as her. Fully. No hiding. No excuses. Every whisper, every glance, every judgment, it is yours. The words hit like lightning. Alex's resistance screamed internally, but Alina's pulse drowned it out. Each movement became an affirmation. Every sway of my hips, every step in heels, every flick of hair was a declaration of identity, power, and survival. Suddenly, a message popped up on Serena's phone. She glanced at it, eyes narrowing. Someone is coming. Someone who knows Alex and wants answers. Panic flared. The threat outside, the whispers, the recognition, they were about to collide with my fully assumed identity. But Alina's pulse surged, stronger than ever. Fear and exhilaration fused into a thrilling clarity. I would face it all as her. With Serena guiding me to the door, I took a deep breath. Each step outside the apartment was deliberate. Every heel click a heartbeat of defiance and transformation. The world waited, judgment and intrigue pressing in. Every eye on me, every whisper, every stolen glance confirmed one thing. Alina had emerged fully and Alex's old life had dissolved completely. As I stepped into the night, the streets glowing with neon and anticipation, a familiar figure stepped from the shadows. Recognition, shock, and desire flickered in their eyes. Alina. I didn't expect this, they whispered. My heart skipped. Panic and exhilaration collided and I realized the ultimate test had just begun. The world would see me, challenge me, desire me, and I would face it fully as Alina. No turning back, no hiding, only transformation, exposure, and the intoxicating thrill of being truly, irreversibly me. The world didn't just see me as Alina. It demanded it. And I couldn't imagine ever going back. The weeks following that night blurred together, each day a new test, a new performance, and a new affirmation. Every time I walked down the street, every time I stepped into a cafe, every glance from a stranger reminded me. Alex was gone. Alina had taken her place, fully alive, fully seen, fully real. Isabella remained a shadow and a guide, partly protective, partly controlling, but her presence reminded me of the thrill and danger of my transformation. Serena had left, satisfied that Alina had emerged victorious. My dual life no longer existed. Only Alina remained, confident, beautiful, and aware of the power she now held. At first, panic would surge whenever someone recognized Alex. Old friends would blink, whisper, and stare. But Alina learned to smile, to hold the gaze, to own it. Every recognition was no longer shameful. It was a thrill, a confirmation of who I had become. A particular afternoon, walking past a crowded park, I noticed a young man watching me. His gaze was intense, curious, filled with admiration. Alex's old instincts recoiled, but Alina's pulse surged. He approached, shy but confident, and said, "You're stunning. Absolutely stunning." A shiver of exhilaration ran through me. Alina smiled, letting the high heels click confidently against the pavement. "Thank you," I said, voice steady and soft, heart racing with thrilling confidence. The reflection in the cafe windows, the whispered compliments, even the occasional gasps of recognition, they all reinforced a truth I hadn't dared imagine. I was no longer Alex. I had been reborn, reshaped, and I was thriving. Yet deep inside, a flicker of doubt remained, Alex's lingering memory, the faint pang of nostalgia for the boy I once was. It surfaced sometimes, a ghost in quiet moments, reminding me that transformation, no matter how exhilarating, had its price. One evening, standing in front of the mirror in my apartment, I adjusted my dress, smoothed my hair, and examined the reflection. Alina stared back, confident, beautiful, and undeniably feminine. Alex's face had vanished entirely, replaced by curves, makeup, and the boldness of someone who had survived exposure, humiliation, and desire. Then a knock at the door shattered my quiet reflection. A letter slid under the door, a single line written in familiar handwriting. "I've been watching, and I want to meet the new you." My pulse spiked. Panic and exhilaration collided. Who was it? A threat, a lover, or someone from Alex's past ready to unravel everything? Alina's pulse surged, eyes gleaming. She smiled softly, trembling, excited, terrified, all at once. The world outside waited, the streets alive with possibility, judgment, and desire. Alina had emerged fully, but the story wasn't over. Every glance, every whisper, every heartbeat promised new challenges, new thrills, and new revelations. I realized then, transformation wasn't just about becoming someone else. It was about embracing every fear, every thrill, every exposure, and claiming it as my own. Alex was gone. But Alina was here, alive, intoxicating, and unstoppable. The world could stare. The world could judge. But Alina would walk tall, every heel click echoing a promise. This was her life now, thrilling, dangerous, and utterly irreversible.